Hello, and welcome back to Unstoppable. We're excited to be back for another semester, and we have some great things coming up. I'm Brittany Lavecchia.
And I'm Sejal Govindarao. We have a great episode coming up, including top plays you might have missed over the break, a Super Bowl breakdown, and an in-studio interview with GW men's basketball assistant coach Dwayne Lee. But first, it's time for the rundown. Starting off with a victory lap, women's swimming and diving dominated the A10 bracket, winning the conference title last weekend for the second year in a row and the third time in 4 years. The team started the season hot with an A10 record-breaking women's 200-yard medley, and through their season, they've broken 4 A10 records overall. GW has taken the podium 27 times, 12 of which with gold medals. Freshman phenom Phoebe Knight and sophomore Julia Knox tied for the team high score with 53 points each. The men's team was also crowned A10 champions last weekend for their third consecutive season, rounding out last weekend's meet with 783 points. Coach Brian Thompson told GW Sports the teams have contributors at every level, from first years to fifth years. Sophomore Connor Rogers was a standout throughout the season and is the school record holder in the 400 IM and the 200 fly. On night 4 of last weekend's tournament, Rogers set an A10 program record in the 200-yard butterfly with 1 minute and 44.47 seconds, beating out the previous mark of 1 minute and 45.17 seconds. Sophomore Philip Moldavanu broke the program record in the 1650-yard freestyle. Now let's go to Ashley Robinson for a look at the women's track season. Ashley, take it away.
Thank you. The GW women's track and field team is having an impressive indoor season. Their most recent showing in the mile at Boston University resulted in personal bests for all 4 runners who competed, including Yukino Parl setting a new school record with a time of 4 minutes and 45 seconds. This weekend, the women's team will compete at the A10 Indoor Championships meet. Top runners to watch include Yukino Parl in the 3,000-meter run, Sarah Mitchell in the mile, and Emma Benzinger in the 60-meter dash. The men's indoor team is running unattached this season, so they will not be competing, but they will return later this semester for outdoor track. Back to you guys.
The GW baseball team opened their season in a doubleheader against East Carolina. Despite taking an early lead 4-0, the team was unable to pull a victory, falling 9-5 and 11-3. Brett Young began his GW career with 3 for 5 with a run scored and an RBI. On the second day, GW fell 5-23 against East Carolina. Sam Gates and Robbie Wacker hit first homers of the season. The team is set to take UNMES next. GW softball has also kicked off its season, starting with the Carolina Classic. After winning on the first day, GW softball faced South Carolina and then Western Kentucky. GW fell 7-1 and 8-0. The team bounced back to defeat Delaware 3-0 in the final game of the weekend. The team ended with a 2-2 mark and a move to 4-3 overall. Rose Cano earned her 4th win in 5 starts, and Emma Falls was credited with her first save of the season. The team is headed to Virginia for the Cavalier Clash next week. That's it for the rundown. Up next, Rami and Issa break down the top plays you might have missed during break.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Unstoppable's Top 10 Plays. We're back with some great highlights from this past week and some that you might have missed from over break. I'm Issa.
And I'm Rami. We're so excited to have you back this semester. Let's jump in.
Coming in at number 10, we have Jason Tatum matching up with Jaylen Brown. The 2 Celtics players go head-to-head in the NBA All-Star Game. It was really entertaining for fans to watch how the 2 teammates played against each other.
And every possession these 2 had the ball, it was like watching fireworks go off. Every play was fantastic. Every finish was exceptional. And Jason Tatum ended up winning the All-Star Game MVP with a new record of 55 points, previously beating the record of 53. But both of them spectacular. Look at this 3 from Jason Tatum. Step back and boom.
Beautiful. They really showed their skills.
This last one was the last time they went against each other, I believe, but Jaylen Brown ran out of time. But yeah. Coming in at number 9, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the New Jersey Devils. Down 2-1 at the beginning of the 3rd period, the New Jersey Devils do not care. They brought it back, and this final goal from Dawson Mercer seals the deal at 4-2, and it's a great home win for the Devils.
Being a Jersey girl myself, very exciting. Coming in at number 8, we have Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final. Both teams played a strong game, but let's take a look at this last goal by Barcelona. Gavi comes in with the assist, leading to Pedri scoring a beautiful goal.
Coming in at number 7, It's that time. Dame time. All-Star game winner. Look at that.
Coming in at number 6, we have LeBron James with the missed 3, giving it to Mo Bamba with a monster slam. Look at that dunk. Beautiful.
Amazing finish. Look at him hang on the rim. Disrespectful. Coming in at number 5, the XFL season opener. The Arlington Renegades were down late, but this pick 6 and a couple other touchdowns helped them to a late 22-20 victory.
At number 4, we have Zheng against Sakari in a match from the Women's Tennis Association. Zheng makes some ambitious shots during the match, but she struggles to reach a short ball, but manages to run to make the winning point, hitting the ball backwards and in between her legs. Really impressive.
The tweeners are really, really hard to do in tennis. I feel like they're really underestimated. Ready?
You see, she runs really fast back and
Gets pulled
somehow
in.
makes that in.
Look at that finish. At number 3, we have none other than the GOAT, Lionel Messi, lining up a free kick for PSG. Guys, we all know how this is going to go. He's going to put it right in the perfect spot, and it's going to be bottom right, off the post. There it is. Amazing finish. The best to ever do it.
So beautiful. And that great celebration. At number 2, we have Real Madrid again, this time versus Liverpool in the Champions League match. Real Madrid was able to score 5 unanswered goals. Modric runs the ball all the way down, passing to Vinicius Jr., who gives it to Karim Benzema, scoring Real Madrid's 5th unanswered goal. A lovely celebration also.
One of the best comebacks I've seen in an opening group leg stage, for sure. At number 1, we talked about the GOAT of soccer. Here's probably one of the GOATs of basketball. LeBron James becomes the all-time leading NBA scorer, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and look at him soaking it in. Really a historic moment for all of basketball, and a really beautiful moment for all of sports.
Yeah, a great celebration. He definitely deserves the title.
What's next for him now? He's going to play with his son?
We'll
see.
We'll see.
But 38,388 points was the number, and he did it. Really, really happy to see him accomplish that goal.
Yeah, a great
history.
moment. That wraps up this week's episode of Top 10 Plays.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Rami and Issa, and of course, congrats to the new all-time NBA scoring leader, LeBron James. Now we go to Alex Ashley for his sit-down with GW men's basketball assistant coach, Dwayne Lee.
Joining us in the studio today is GW men's basketball assistant coach, Dwayne Lee. Coach Lee has coached at St. Bonaventure University and Quinnipiac University and joined GW in May of 2022. Coach, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
First question, you guys right now, 8-7 in conference, 14-14 overall. How do you think this season has been going for you so far, and what kind of things are you looking to do to finish out the season?
Yeah, the season's been really good for us, Alex. I mean, right now we're right in the pack, middle of the pack. We're right in the mix. We've had some ups and downs this year. But right now, with 3 games coming in down the stretch, we have a chance to move up our status in the league and go into Brooklyn on a high. Our last 2 games, we've really played our behinds off on the road, and you guys know how hard it is to win games on the road. And so coming into Saturday, we have a game against LaSalle, who those guys beat us pretty good on the road earlier in the season, and we have a chance to kind of right that wrong per se. But for us, overall, I feel like we've really laid a foundation for ourselves as a program, and our guys have really committed and have been invested into what we want to do and build here. So credit to our guys and our team, and I think moving forward, we can build off of all of those things.
When you have a game at home, obviously you have a home crowd. What kind of culture have you been trying to build here? Obviously that South Carolina game earlier this year, great win for GW. That's probably the fullest I've seen the Smith Center in my time here. Do you want to keep building that culture where fans are really invested in the home team?
Let me tell you something, Alex. The fans have been great. I mean, that game specifically where Georgia's Army came out in waves, and those guys were really loud and excited and got our guys playing with some energy and excitement, right? And so that's one thing, right? We want to be able to have our gym a place where it's hard to come in and win. And there's teams in our league that have that, and we feel like we can have that as well here, you know, in D.C. and with Georgia's Army. And so we're building that, and Georgia's Army has been great. But the culture of just a team that plays hard, you know, a team that is very competitive, a team that shares the ball, you know, a team that plays, you know, smart and plays together. Those are the things that we've been trying to lay down, and I think, like I said, our guys are committed to it. They've done a great job, and Georgia's Army has done an excellent job as well supporting us.
So this year we've also seen some coaching changes along the A10. Loyola Chicago is down in the bottom of the conference right now. Davidson is struggling after their last season with a recent coaching change. How have you navigated the transition, both with Coach Caputo coming in and with your starting here?
Yeah, so, that's not easy, so I think Coach Caputo has done a great job leading the program and putting together, a really good staff, and I think our staff works really well together. The chemistry is great around the office and on the floor. Coach has a lot of experience. He spent a lot of years here in the area at George Mason as an assistant coach. Those guys had a lot of success. They reached the Final Four. And then on to Miami. Those guys also had a lot of success there. And so he's paid his dues as an assistant coach. And so I believe he was really ready. And I think that, he's grabbed the bull by the horns, and we all follow his lead. The other thing is that we were able to return some really good players. So James Bishop, Brendan Adams, Ricky Lindo, all of these guys were a part of the team last year. They decided to come back and play for Coach Caputo and our staff, and it's really helped us because those guys are really experienced. You talk about guys who spent 3-4 years in college basketball already, and it's paying off, and they've been really receptive to how we want to do things. They've been receptive to change, and I think that's helped us as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned those players that left. Joe Bamaseal went to Oklahoma, and Breon Freeman went to URI. How have you navigated filling those holes on the offense, especially with new players like Max Edwards?
Yeah. So the transfer portal is a new thing, and it can be great, right? And so Max Edwards is a guy who we kind of targeted in that transfer portal early on in the process. We had some relationships prior with him and our staff, and he decided to come on and trust in us and trust in Coach Caputo. And there was opportunity for him to come in and play right away, and that's something that he was attracted and drawn to, and it's paid off for him. But that's kind of the new era of college basketball, where you can kind of turn things around quickly because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, and he's already averaging 11 points per game. And then you mentioned Brendan Adams earlier at 18 points per game right now. And you worked with his brother, Jalen Adams, while you were at St. Bonaventure. Yeah. Is there kind of a nice familial relationship there?
No, it's funny, man. It's funny because that's one of the first things that I told Brendan is I was able to join St. Bonaventure's staff Jalen Adams' senior year. So I got to coach him only 1 year, but I got to coach him. And so when I got the job here, I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, well, I know that name, right? Brendan Adams was a guy who was around the program, would come watch his brother play. So I knew him a little bit. He also, his previous stop at UConn, he played for a coach that I'm very familiar with because Danny Hurley, the coach at UConn, I played for his dad in high school, Bobby. So I know that family pretty well. And so I knew who Brendan Adams was. He had a great reputation here in high school. So we joke about, what brother is better all the time.
To wrap up a little bit on the team side of things, let's look ahead a little bit. You have Davidson and VCU coming up,
sure.
And then that LaSalle game at home that you mentioned. What kind of keys are you looking forward to actually even win in VCU? Obviously, they're a top team, and you've had statement wins this year too over South Carolina, over Dayton. What are you going to try and do in that game to finish off the season strong? Yeah,
we want to take it one game at a time. We have LaSalle first. We have LaSalle this Saturday, tomorrow, and so looking forward to seeing Georgia's Army come out in waves and all of our fans who've been great so far this year. So we want to take that game first, and we want to be able to play well, right? We want to come out and perform and execute our game plan. They're a team that beat us earlier in the year, so it's an opportunity for us to now, protect our home court. And again, yes, it's a week left in the season, and we have Davidson, which is not easy to win. It's a place that's, throughout the years, those guys, they have a great program. They're going through a coaching change, and they're in year one with Coach McKillop. But we look forward to Saturday first, and then we'll think about Davidson and then VCU. But we have 2 home games here out of our last 3 where we're looking forward to possibly having great crowds tomorrow, and then again on senior night next Saturday to help our team, perform well.
All right. Well, we'll hope that a win can be secured in all those games, and good luck as well in the upcoming tournament in Brooklyn. Coach Dwayne Lee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Alex, thanks for having me.
Good luck to the men's basketball team in the upcoming A10 tournament. Finishing off this month's episode is a look back at Super Bowl 57 with Spencer and Alex.
Thanks, Sajal. Super Bowl 57 between the Eagles and the Chiefs ended with a score of 38-35 as the Chiefs took home their second championship in 4 years. Joining me today is Alex Ashley to take a closer look at the game.
Thanks, Spencer. I mean, it was a great game, 38-35. There was action until the final minute. Jalen Hurts ended up 27 of 38 for 304 yards and a touchdown, and those 3 rushing touchdowns, which were pivotal for him. Patrick Mahomes, even on the broken ankle a little bit, 21 of 27, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, 44 yards rushing. I think the Chiefs deserve to win the game, but it was a close one.
I think deserves a stretch. I think the Eagles lost it more than the Chiefs won it. I mean, if you start from the beginning of the game, right, we get to a 14-7 score midway through the second quarter about muff snap off of Jalen Hurts' hands right onto the floor. Right, scoop and score. That's a fundamental problem with the Eagles that wasn't a Chiefs forced fumble.
That was also one of Jalen Hurts' lowest points of the game. I think overall he looked really good. No interceptions. He had some pretty clean balls, good time in the pocket, and some great rushing.
Definitely.
But I think that rookie mistake hurt them too much.
Definitely.
I would agree with you there. But Patrick Mahomes looked a lot more polished. I mean, his first drive, 2 of 2, 38 yards, 1 passing touchdown. The Chiefs answered right away.
Oh, 100%. I'm not doubting the fact that Patrick Mahomes was great. I just think that when we look at really what the problem of this game was, it wasn't that the Chiefs played well, because they didn't. They played a very decent game. Like, they've had better games this year. They could have played a lot better. The first quarter was sluggish for them. Really, the pivotal moment was that fumble recovery for a touchdown. That was really when the script flipped it and really got more in depth of the offense. I think they expanded the offense a lot more with a tie game rather than being down 14-7.
I mean, that is true, and I get what you're coming from, but I think also the Chiefs have more players that made an impact than the Eagles did. The Eagles had Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown with 2 receiving touchdowns.
Both were at almost 100 yards each.
Right, and that was about it for their total passing, and their other next leading receiver had, I think, Dallas Goedert was just under 60.
Yeah.
Versus the rushing attack for the Chiefs with an actual running back, not just Jalen Hurts, but an actual running back. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 76 yards, and that punt return to set up a touchdown. I mean, he made a difference in the game, and Boston Scott didn't make the same difference for
100%.
Philadelphia.
And I think that was really a big failure going into the game, was not having a good running game. I mean, obviously
the Eagles do have the good running game.
I mean,
they had a great running game, just not in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. When they use their running back, I think that's where their offense really flows, is when they have a running back active in the game. Jalen Hurts is a great runner. I mean, he rushed for 70 yards on 12 attempts, I believe it was. Fantastic game for him. Like, he really could have walked away with the MVP at the end of the game, and I wouldn't have been surprised.
I mean, he could have, but he didn't, because what he did wasn't enough for them to win. One player does not a Super Bowl make. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes,
really won this game here,
Pacheco.
If we're really going to get into who won this game here, let's be honest. The refs won this game. The zebras and the black and white.
We will talk about that call. So for anyone who isn't aware, pivotal holding call on a 3rd and 8 with 1:48 left in the game. Score was 35-25, and it was a 5-yard penalty. Allowed the Chiefs to get a new first down and get within field goal
I want to
range.
back up a second to the drive before the Chiefs scoring drive. It was 4th and 5 like 12 times, and they or 3rd and 5 like 12 times, and they consistently kept calling penalties on the Eagles to allow for that drive to continue.
That is true, but the
I think that's the when people talk about this game, right, and we're talking about that last drive of that holding call, people are missing the fact that ensuing part would never have happened because there were so many 3rd and 5s that happened just consecutively because of penalties.
I mean, perhaps, but the main call in question, I don't think was a penalty.
I completely agree.
The Bradbury hold on
penalty.
Smith-Schuster right at that mark. I don't think it was a penalty. I think it was a little bit of contact, a little bit of grab, a little bit of a push, but I think holding was a bit too far, and I do think the NFL
that late in the game, like, I think you have to just let them play it out. I mean, unless it's an egregious call, and I think
if there has been a call like that previously on the other side.
100%.
If you are leveling it out, I get it.
They've been missing calls the entire game. Like, I'm not going to dunk on the officiating that much because they speak for themselves, but I think we could have had a better officiated game going into that, because I think this really missed it when it came to that last drive. I think the last drive was 100% for the last play kind of thing. Like, I think that really was like how the league wants to do it. And people will talk about, the conspiracy theorists, the league's rigged, everyone knew it, right? But I think this game kind of showed that it wasn't. I mean, you had a very dominant Eagles offense.
But would the Eagles have won the game if not for that penalty?
Yes, 100%. Not down my mind.
They would have won the game. It wouldn't have been an overtime.
Well, they would have gone back to the drive before.
Would they have won the game?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You're saying, okay. Well,
I think 100% the Eagles would have won that game. And, again, I'm not surprised the Chiefs won. Andy Reid is a fantastic coach. Been a coach for a long time. Everyone loves him.
even in Philadelphia, of
Even in
course.
Philadelphia. God, those were some great years in Philly.
yeah,
Those were some fun offenses. But let's talk about really what slowed down, I feel like, this game a little bit. Right? That field was really not up to standard.
Well, that was an issue that kept coming up, and players were slipping and sliding. But unfortunately, I think because both teams suffered, it didn't change the outcome of the game. I think it might have affected certain things, but I think both teams were at a disadvantage. So it was just 100%. A negative situation overall.
I think if you look at the defense more, it affected the defense more the edge rushers. I was watching highlights of this recently, and they're just slipping and sliding. I mean, even on the kickoff. Right, you have.
Well, but then people that didn't slide were that Philadelphia offensive line. Whenever they went for that 4th and 1 QB sneak, they would just go low, and that would be a guaranteed success every time.
Oh, 100%. And that was without the push play.
Right.
Without a push play.
Right.
Gotta love it.
Well, as you see, Spencer believes that the Eagles would have won if not for some controversial officiating. I think the Chiefs deserve to win it. Patrick Mahomes, MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Great season for the Chiefs.
First time since '99.
Yeah.
With Kurt Warner.
Now the Super Bowl's done, though.
Rams.
Yeah. Now that the Super Bowl is done, we do have the exciting time of free agency. So to give us a little bit more of a look at what's coming up, here's Spencer on the board.
And welcome to our free agent movers. As you can see here on the board, we have 6 of the most likely to move, or really top name QBs in the league right now. We have Geno Smith, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. So first, let's look at Geno Smith. Geno Smith had an incredible year this year. Some people are even saying that his contract could go as high as $30 million. So really, let's think about this. The Seahawks are probably going to draft a guy. Right? They're going to want to draft a guy and let Geno play one more year, maybe 2, and really start to phase him out and really start to draft a new guy and bring him in. So my prediction is that he's going to stay here in Seattle, where he's comfortable, where he's been for a long time, where they love him, and he'll be great. Maybe a franchise tag, maybe a 1-year, like $10, $12 million deal. Next, we got Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr is so interesting because, you see, we have Aaron Rodgers on the board here, and he just got out of his 4-day escape. He only lasted 2 days, so really we're going to find out soon whether or not he's still committed to playing. So Derek Carr has multiple suitors. It could be the Jets, could be the Saints, it could even be teams such as the Washington Commanders. And even Carolina's gotten in the mix a little bit. They have 12 quarterbacks for 4 spots. So first, I think we're going to get Derek Carr to move to New Orleans. I don't think the Jets get him. I think that he moves there because I do see Aaron Rodgers still staying in the league for a couple more years. He's still got the talent. He's still got the arm. Jimmy G, he's going to stay in the same area and go right to the Raiders. Raiders looking for a win now quarterback. They got a great offense with a lot of high power talent. He's their easiest choice to choose, and I really think that can do it. Let's get over to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is, reportedly looking for some crazy money. I don't think he's going to get it. He's going to stay with the Giants, though. We're going to put him right up there, throwing up the touchdown because, he's got lots of those and loves them. And they love him there, too. Honestly, they drafted him number 6 overall. I don't think he was, I personally back then thought, why would they draft him at 6? There were better players. But it worked out for them, and, and him he trusts. Lamar Jackson is going to stay in Baltimore. I think they get that contract worked out. Whether it's a franchise tag now and they work it out over the next year, he's going to stay for a lot of money. That offense is really built around him. If he leaves, that offense, no one really knows what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy and interesting to see, but I think he stays there. They love him there. He's the easiest choice, which leaves Mr. Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets, my favorite team. He's that missing link. He really is that one guy who will take the Jets from possible to probable contender, assuming he stays healthy. So I think that covers our QBs for our free agent moves. Thank you so much for joining us on another great episode of NFL Analysis. Thank you, Alex, Ashley, and we're going to send it back.
Thanks, guys. That'll wrap up our episode. Thanks for watching, and remember to tune in for the rest of Unstoppable this semester.